Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Hello and welcome to Rauta's review video, and this time it's about Uriah Heep, a band that is celebrating 50 years of career, 50 years in rock and roll music and all that stuff. Now, originally I decided not to even review this one because, first of all, I'm total newbie when it comes to Uriah Heep. I have only heard maybe a song or two along the years. It's almost like I have been actively dodging the bullet here. No, I kid you not, never actually gave the band a real chance. Nothing personal, nothing related to that. It's just me being a dumb metalhead and all. But as I got the review copy of their latest album, I was sitting on it for quite some while, and I was, I guess, supposed to do a review for imperiumi.net, do just a writing review of that from an UP perspective by someone who hasn't been actively listening to Uriah Heep apart from the mandatory hit songs or whatever you have been listening to on radio. But somehow a colleague of mine went first, and I was like, okay, what to do with the CD, which I don't even have here in Spain. It's in my home, uh, Finland. So here I'm pondering what to say about this latest album, which I gave a few runs. This one is, of course, Chaos and Color. In case you wondered, came already out in January 2023. And I decided, like, what the hell? Since I got the copy, maybe it's time to do it true, even though I don't have it for unboxing here. I'm sorry about that. But like I said, originally I was only going to do a writing about it from a newbie perspective. But since that is taken care of by a colleague of mine, let's just talk about it. So once again, I want to emphasize I'm talking from the newbie perspective by someone who hasn't listened to Uriah Heep albums like at all. So what a metalhead, dumb as hell, can say about it when there's decades full of history with the band given in question and all that stuff. Now, if you're a fan already, you've been listening to this album and you probably know it true and true, and there's nothing to add to it. You probably know lot more things than I could possibly tell you about this music. So if you're a fan, you probably just got better things to do than watch a random dude ramble about the band. But if you're like a newbie like me and you want to wonder what the hell is all about this band, well, maybe I can give you a reason or two to check out the band. Now, first of all, like I said, this band is ages old. They're like living dinosaurs, but that doesn't really shine through with the music. That is, these guys are still as relevant as decades ago. My point here is the skill, talent, and experience is all over the place with Chaos and Color, and you really can't bitch about it from the talent point of view. I mean, it's not like it's one of those overly produced albums by some newbies. It's not like let's throw super retro and do something out of ordinary just for the sake of it because doing decades and decades of this kind of music. More than that, it's kind of a safe bet done by old veterans for the fans of old veterans. And that means essentially it's very safe to listen to. There are no big surprise elements, so it's not going to be a letdown in so many respects. But also there is nothing really surprising. I mean, even from a newbie perspective, it sounded like I've heard this before. And I cannot really bitch about it because the thing here is I wouldn't even expect anything less from a band like this. I think at this point of the career, they probably don't want to experiment too much. I think those hazy years are way overdue, and now at this point, you want to just deliver something the fans are expecting. It might be safe and boring in that sense, but at least it's something that you're kind of also hoping for. I mean, there are way too many bands that gone off the road, so to speak, with their style and all. So instead of doing that, these guys are delivering something very classic. Now, whether to call this kind of a borderline heavy metal or just kind of a classic rock music, that goes beyond my scope because the thing here is it totally depends on who are you talking to about this band. If you're looking for some old school heavy metal maniacs or veterans, and I'm talking old school, not guys who in their 40s like me, they're probably gonna say it's heavy metal or proto heavy or something like that. And if you're talking to people older than that, they're gonna say, well, it's just rock and roll, but it's kind of a heavy. Um, my point here is, it once again depends from which kind of a thing background you're coming from. If you're a true metalhead, you probably don't think this is metal at all, because in fact it is rock and roll, heavy rock, if you will. But it also depends, once again, what kind of age, what kind of experience you're having, and all that stuff. Now, like I said, Chaos and Color is indeed a very safe album in terms of songwriting, in terms of production and vocals and all that stuff. It's something like we could call ageless. This could have come out in the 80s or 90s or early 2000, or I don't know, even in the 70s. And apart from maybe some of the production issues, you probably couldn't figure out what kind of album or what time, what era of an album this actually is. And I am saying this from a neutral point of view. It can be totally seen and heard as a positive thing as well as negative thing. Like I said, some people are happy that it sounds like as it could have been done some 40 years ago. But those who then again want those changes and differences and all that stuff might feel like, yeah, this is the kind of a diluted version of the band that used to be great and all. So kind of hard for me to figure out what people are supposed to think about it. What I do think about it is Case and Color is very, very easy to listen to. There are no, in my opinion, instant hit songs. There are some parts where the band kind of gets it momentum and goes for those harder moments, heavier parts and catchier parts and whatever. But mostly it's kind of a radio-friendly music, the kind of stuff that doesn't bother you, whatever you're doing, driving a car, doing take care of the dishes or laundry or whatever, cooking. And at the same time, those songs feel kind of forgettable. It's not like they're the kind of easy living kind of stuff that it's like instantly drilling into your brain, and then you see and like notice yourself humming to it like some 50 years later. But this is what it is, and for a lot of people, I think this is what it is to be expected of it. So once again, to be said, this is the kind of a starting point for new Uriah Heep fans. No denying that. This is very, very easy to lure you in, and then maybe you will start digging. Like with so many older bands. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about Black Sabbath or Pink Floyd or whatever. I mean, once you kind of get in and you're like, okay, this is pretty listenable. I need to dig out more, and maybe this works as a kind of a weird entry point. But also, it's kind of a safe bet to cater to the needs of the older fans. So all I'm saying, it's pretty nice an album, but is it gonna make big waves or like win a lot of people over because it's filled with instant hits? Not so much. So I'm kind of putting this between the good ones and the lukewarm ones. Because technical point of view, this is kind of a good, but when it comes to the actual songwriting, it could be a lot better. It could have those points or moments when you're like, wow. Now it's not that. It's as interesting as an album as the title, case, and color is. Doesn't really make your eyebrows make weird, wild moves. And you're just like nodding. Yeah, this is the kind of old school rock and roll music, and that's pretty much of it. So, since the album has been already out for a couple of months, why don't you give a listen if you're like into old school rock and roll meeting heavy metal, at least a proto metal. And if you think it's way too lame for you and way too old people music, then just skip it and move on. Thanks for watching, and should you have comments or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Take care.